Time blocking is the number one productivity power tool. That's per Gary Keller. He's the co-founder of Keller Williams. It's one of the largest real estate agencies in the world with like 190,000 agents. He's a co-author of a book called The One Thing. It's a great productivity book, which also was co-written by my cousin, Jay Papazan. And, you know, I really want to get into this video in phase 3 of the productivity pyramid to share with you how we do time blocking. So I've mentioned before that the 5 to 6 hour or the 4-day work week changes behavior, especially towards productivity. So for our company, it was kind of the trigger that changed our focus from time, how long we're working, to a results-oriented work culture. And this is one of the key kind of tools that we use to do so. So in the first couple videos, I shared phases 1 and 2 of the productivity pyramid. If you remember, 1 is eliminate the biggest time wasters first. 2 is eliminate distractions and multitasking. So everything I've covered so far has been massive productivity gains via subtraction. So this will be the first one where I'm giving you a tool that you can add. And in phase 3, I'll cover optimizing time blocks, optimizing meetings, and installing bookends on the day. But today I'm going to really just focus on time blocking. And I want to make 2 main points. Why time blocking? Why is it the number one productivity power tool per Gary Keller and many others? Number 2, how to install time blocks. And if you already use some form of time blocking, how to further kind of optimize time blocking. I hope it'll help you improve that, because it's easy to put something on the calendar, but how to execute it is a whole nother story, which I'm going to get into. So I want to introduce you real quick to Cal Newport. He is the author of a really famous productivity book called Deep Work. I keep it right next to The One Thing because they're so closely related. They're just probably the 2 best productivity books that we use at Blue Street and that I personally use in my day-to-day, how to time block. And the guy's really genius, PhD, computer science from MIT. He's a professor and computer scientist at Georgetown. And he did a ton of research about why is this way that I work so effective. And it's a really important book. But in short, the first couple chapters, basically the first half of the book, kind of make the case of why. Why deep work? Deep work is just basically time blocking, completely undistracted, focused blocks of time. He realized you can just be exponentially more effective. And he makes the case that it's simultaneously more valuable and more rare. And what sticks out to me is the reason it's more rare is because people are increasingly becoming more distracted. Our technology is increasingly becoming more addictive. It's designed to be addictive and distracting. So we live in a very distracted world now. So the people that figure out how to time block and do deep work become way more valuable. And the second half of the book gets more into the tactics on how to implement deep work. Really good read. Just wanted to share that with you because I truly believe anything that's important really needs to be scheduled. And if it's something that takes a long time, notably your work, it should be time blocked. Your most important work should be time blocked. And by the way, in phase 2 of the productivity pyramid, I talked about eliminating multitasking and how like the average office waste 28% of their day. 28% of the day on average is wasted in multitasking because it's not doing multiple things efficiently at one time. It's actually switching between lots of tasks quickly and doing them kind of poorly and inefficiently. So if you think about it, time blocking is the opposite of multitasking. It's monotasking. It's doing one thing really, really good. Another quote from Gary Keller. He says that most people think that there's never enough time to be successful. But when you time block, there is. Time blocking is results-oriented way of looking at time versus the longer I'm in the seat, the better, which directly ties into the whole premise of the shorter work week. It's a trigger to switch people's behavior to be results driven. So Gary Keller also says that time blocking is a way to make sure that what has to be done gets done. So it's a way to make sure that what has to be done gets done. Time block it. So now that I've given you a quick look at the why behind time blocking, I want to talk about how. And I'm going to start with kind of a crash course that this outline is in the book, The One Thing, but I try to follow it to a T. And the first step, so it's 3 steps to starting time blocking. First, time block your time off, your personal time. 2, time block your most important work. That's the meat and potatoes of time blocking. Time block your most important work first and try to put it to as close to the front of the day as possible when you have the most energy, the most focus, and your mind is the least kind of cluttered and distracted. 3, time block your planning time. This is really important. So my wife and I do a Sunday rundown where we go over all of our personal stuff first. On Monday morning, I have a dedicated block of time where I'm planning out my week, my work week, and I'm scheduling my time blocks. So I'm really focusing on scheduling the things that I really want to accomplish that week and giving them the priority that they deserve. So you've scheduled your time blocks. I said that's one thing, but actually executing on those time blocks is a whole nother thing. So I want to talk about 4 ways real quick that you can protect your time block. Protect your time blocks at all cost, or else it just won't work. You have to execute on these time blocks. So this is adapted also from the book, The One Thing. The first one is announce your time blocks. So if you have a way of sharing your calendar, or if there's a time every day, let people around you know I'm working on my most important work right now. Please don't distract me. What we do at our company is we actually have a company-wide 90-minute time block that everyone in the whole company respects. Everyone knows from this time to this time, every single morning, we don't distract people. We have a little bit of time before where people can ask questions or whatever they need before people jump into that time block. It's been so effective that a couple teams within our company, like our customer service team and our business development team, they have a second 90-minute time block that's everyone respects and protects. You don't want to do your time blocks back to back, so you'll have a gap in between. And the reason we choose 90-minute time blocks specifically is because it kind of follows that ultradian rhythm. Just like you have a 24-hour circadian rhythm, your sleep cycle, we have roughly 90-minute circadian rhythms where we have 90 minutes of peak kind of energy and focus. And then once we get into that slump, that's a good time to have some time to rest. So paradoxically, we're taking deep rest in between our time blocks in a 5-hour workday. We've been doing this now for almost 7 years, so it's very effective. So that's how we work. The first step is to announce. The second step is to airplane mode your technology. So I've talked about the cell phone and how addictive it is. And even by having the phone, your mobile phone, turned off, studies show that even if it's in sight, it's splitting our attention. So to have a very effective, focused, undistracted time block, put it out of sight, ideally on turned off or on airplane mode, and then any other technology that buzzes, dings, or distracts you, try to shut that stuff down. It's going to be different for everyone. You're going to know what distracts you. Step 3 to protect your time block is store provisions. Sounds obvious, but it's just everything that would take you from your desk, like getting up to get coffee or water, tissues, snacks. Have all that stuff at your desk so you don't have to get up. Lastly, step 4 in protecting your time block is build a bunker. I know this doesn't work for everyone, so some people are going to have a workstation that's in a very busy area where it's impossible to be undistracted. you might consider, if you have a laptop, just finding a place to make your bunker, your place where you do your hour and a half to 2 hour time block. It might be an empty conference room, go to a coffee shop or library. It's going to be different for everyone. If you have the ability to work in your environment, you can use a light. So like I have this on air sign where I can turn the light on when I'm visiting our headquarters office. I work out of a desk that's in a pretty busy area. So when people see that the light's on, they'll know that I'm engaged in my most important work for that day. So just want to recap real quick what I've covered in this video. So I've covered why is time blocking the number one productivity tool. And, it's because it allows you to get into flow and stay in flow. Undistracted, focused work. In essence, you get way more done in a much shorter amount of time. And I would even argue that and a lot of the people in our company get as much done in that first 90-minute time block as they used to get done in an entire morning, working kind of a distracted 8-hour workday morning. And then lastly, how? How do you schedule your time blocks? So I went over the crash course. Just get your personal time down first. The things that are most important to you personally, your kids' practice, your date nights, your exercise time, whatever it is, block that stuff first. Second, block your most important work. Ideally towards the beginning of the day. Everyone's going to be a little bit different. And then third, block time for planning. So those 3 steps is how to time block. How to execute the time blocks. One of the most important things is to protect your time blocks at all cost. So first is announce when you have your time blocks. 2 is airplane mode your technology. 3 is store provisions. And 4 is build a bunker. All right. So the key here is no distractions. Have I said that before? Of course. The more you repeat, the more it sticks. So I hope this video was helpful. I'm going to be covering the rest of phase 3 of the productivity pyramid in other videos.